and welcome to the Crooked Letter Sports Podcast, the show about Mississippi sports and the folks who play them. I'm Tyler Cleveland, joined as always by my co-host and dad, Rick Cleveland. I'd ask you how your weekend was, but we've been off for a little while. You know, we pre-recorded the New Year's show, so a lot's happened since we were last sitting across from each other. So I'll start with the big question. How was your holiday?
Holidays were fun. I mean, we spent most of them together. It was, had all the family together, ate well, visited a lot.
Yeah.
New Orleans is not a bad place to spend the holidays.
No, it was fantastic. Really enjoyed the city park. I hadn't spent a whole lot of time out there in the winter before, but the Christmas stuff was pretty cool.
It's gorgeous anytime, but it's, the way they fix it up at Christmas, it's really, really nice.
Yeah,
so
buddy.
Happy 2025.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty wild, huh?
It's crazy. I can't. Part of me is saying, I can't believe it, and part of it is just saying, I can't believe I made it.
Yeah, right? Well, get ready. Your big prize awaits. We'll see what 2025 holds. Man, we do want to we're going to wrap a bow on a couple of seasons. We got to wrap a bow on the Saints season, which just ended Sunday. A lot of names floating around out there about people they're talking to for the head coaching position. But before we get to that, just kind of your thoughts on an otherwise, regrettable, unmemorable season.
Well, during this season, we've talked about it a lot. I think had they stayed healthy, they'd have won their division. They're definitely, when they're healthy, the best team in the division. But they didn't. And they didn't come close. Every key player on the team, all the best players got hurt.
Yeah, I don't know what the final number was for missed games from week one starters. I want to say the Saints were either second or third in the league, which raises the question, who in the hell got hurt more? You know what I mean? Which team suffered more?
Nobody.
Critical injuries.
Unless you switch sports, the Atlanta Braves.
Well, we'll get to that in our New Year's resolution section. I'm swearing off injury news. But, I thought it was disappointing. But going forward, do you think that I see some of the names pop up. I saw Joe Brady is one guy they're interested in. I saw the Nagy, the old Bears coach, kind of had popped up on their radar.
I'll tell you who I wish they'd go after. Todd Monken.
Yeah, he'd be a great coach.
He'd be great in New Orleans. He's been a terrific offensive coordinator for Baltimore, the Ravens, and before that at Georgia. His only head coaching experience is at Southern Miss, but gee, what a great job he did there.
Yeah, well,
I'm all in on him if they hire him, but I don't know that they'll do it.
Well, I think they'll go offense. I think they'll hire an offensive coach. I don't know how much that matters when you're the head coach of the team in the NFL. You have to play, defense and offense. It doesn't really matter. But, I just feel like they're, these past couple of years of stagnant offenses have been tough to watch, and they keep adding pieces that you like. Juwan Johnson and Foster Moreau are fine tight ends, and we got, the Swiss Army knife and Taysom Hill, and Alvin Kamara is a top shelf running back, and you feel like Olave and Shaheed, you finally got some weapons there, and, obviously Derek Carr.
Yeah, but all of them are hurt.
All of them are hurt because the offensive line is, not great, and
their best offensive lineman was out almost the whole season.
That's right. I'm hoping they'll. Which direction? I think they're picking ninth. So which direction you hope they go in with that?
Lee, I don't.
Come on, Mel Kiper. Give me the whole.
I'm not waiting to hear what he says. I can tell you that much. But I think the place where they need the most help is probably in the offensive line.
Yeah,
and also. Cam Jordan can't play they need another edge rusher.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Those are the two positions for me, pass rusher and any kind of offensive lineman. It really doesn't matter except maybe center. You know what I mean? You got to say, if your starter's healthy, you only need one of those. And I know basically any position on the offensive line, they could use an upgrade or at least somebody who can
Well,
multiple things.
What do you think of Rizzi?
I think he did a decent job holding them together, considering. But I mean, you look at the results, and it's not like they set the world on fire after he took over. I thought they played in that last game against the Buccaneers, particularly in the first half. I mean, you look at the injury; they had no business being in a game like that against a team that had to win. The Buccaneers absolutely needed to win that game. And the Saints were playing for nothing. And at least in the first half, it was, they dominated. So, I thought they played well in times, but, they just weren't positioned to win football games.
My takeaway from that is that Spencer Rattler does have a future in the NFL. I thought he really played well. I thought it was his best game.
Yeah, I thought he played well, too. I think his future may be in one of those new backup commercials that they have.
Well, he could be, that could be. But, that's I thought he probably secured himself a job with the way he played.
Well, let me ask you this. This is a good question for you then. Is Derek Carr $37 million better than Spencer Rattler?
If Rattler played like he did the other day all the time, I would say no.
Right. I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about the Saints and the cap situation. I mean, I don't see how you cut bait on the starting quarterback.
It's such a double-edged sword because if they did it now, it would just kill them for next year.
Right, kill them on the cap for sure.
Yeah, so I don't
think they're going to pull it. I still think Derek Carr is the best option for the record. I just think that in the bang for your buck department, he's got to play. We need him to play about 15, 16 games next season.
Yeah.
The other big season that wrapped up, Dad, was Ole Miss's football season since we were last together here. The Rebels just kind of spanked Duke in the Gator Bowl.
Just the way we said they would.
As expected. To finish the season with, it's another big season. 10 wins for the Rebels? It's going to be a top 12 finish probably in the rankings when all's said and done.
Could be top 10.
Right. So, just your overall thoughts on the season. I feel like we've wrapped their season 5 times now, but they, obviously going to have a lot of what could have been with those 3 games that they did lose. But, man, another successful season under Kiffin, and this seems to be a trend at this point.
Yeah, I wrote a column for Mississippi Today the morning after the game, and yeah, there's, we said it on the show. There's no doubt they were one of the best 12 teams in the country. If you were picking the 12 best teams to go in the playoffs, they're one of them. But, you don't lose at home to Kentucky.
You could just stop right there. That's it.
You just don't. And what I wrote a lot about is what they got to replace for next year.
It's like it's a gigantic list of needs. But that's what I was getting to earlier. Is when I say it seems to be a trend with Kiffin. Like, as long as he's there, I'm not betting against them finding a way to fill those holes. He's been able to do that every year, and they seem to have gotten a little bit better, even in years when you thought, they're going to have to take a step back or whatever. They seem to have gotten better.
As long as he's there and they have $15, $20 million to spend,
Is that going to dry up anytime soon?
I have no idea. There is a lot of trial lawyer money floating.
Oh, man. Now, hold on now. They've also got a doctor program. All right. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do, because and if anyone's listening and wants to know, do go read Rick's piece, because their list of needs, and it's not just like their list of needs, it's like the positions they need them at and how good the people were. Talking about Nolan up front on defense, and there's a couple of those guys up front on defense.
In that column, I said he's the best Ole Miss defensive lineman since Ben Williams, at least.
Wow.
And then you got right beside him, J.J. Pegues, who, my goodness, that's 2 of the best. And, they lose all those edge rushers except for the homegrown one from Raleigh.
Yeah, that's right. Sanitarian.
But they lose the rest of them. They lose, all those receivers. And number one, now I know the guy has looked great. The backup quarterback has looked great when he's gotten a chance to play. But, man, Jackson Dart's career, that's what I started that column with, is just where it ranks.
Yeah, it's all up there.
I think it ranks in there with Eli and Archie.
Well, I mean, that's the statistics say that career-wise. What do you think about his prospects as an NFL quarterback? Would you be upset if the team that you follow drafted him?
I would love it. I think he's a big-time player. I think he makes all the throws. I think he makes the players around him better. Tell me a downside, because I don't see one.
No, just as they literally only be in the NFL they like those big tall guys.
He's 6'2". Brett Favre was 6'1".
I know, but I'll tell you, the NFL they want them like 6'3", 6'4", 6. I mean, they want big guys.
I know they do, and
Justin Herbert sized guys.
He's 6'2", and he plays bigger, and he's mobile. He makes good decisions. I don't know. I'm all for him. If the Saints got him, I'd be really happy.
Well, they just might, but I don't think they'll do it with the number 9 pick.
No.
It'll have to be a later round thing. So, Dad, there's been a couple other news things here I want to get to. Staying on college football, how closely, I know it felt like the signing day came and went before Christmas, and it was kind of uneventful in Hattiesburg. It was like I was reading all about Ole Miss's signees and Mississippi State's guys, and then I got to like the part where I would usually go to read about Southern Miss, and there was like nothing to read. Right, and so since then they've brought in Charles Huff. They started this recruiting, basically treating the portal like a signing period. And now I've checked out over the Christmas. What can you tell me about what's been going on down there with him? I know he finally got it up to, or I had read where he got it up to 25. They were going to sign 25.
That's what they've signed so far is 25 in the portal, 16 of whom played at Marshall last year.
Right. I'm of two minds about this. Obviously, I'm not crazy about the idea of coaches bringing half their starters with them when they go from one school to another. On the other hand, I guess if their players that are going with them are getting paid more, then I guess it makes sense, because for years coaches have been taking the new job after their players went out and won a bunch of games, you know what I mean? So I guess it's a better way to reward players to be able to move up. But man, you bring in a coach, let's say to rebuild your program, and they rebuild your program, and then they take a job somewhere else and take the whole damn team.
Well, what's more, they got their offensive coordinator that Charles Huff hired is Blake Anderson. He's bringing a bunch of Utah State players too.
Well, I will say this: it's probably what Southern Miss needed more than anything was, an overhaul. I mean, almost a complete overhaul. I just kind of feel bad for the kids that kind of had bought in. That may get, but I know they can transfer as well. But
a bunch of Southern players are the guys they had last year are transferring out. I think the main ones they wanted to keep, they've kept. We'll see.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what I know they signed the quarterback from Marshall, who was the conference newcomer of the year.
They signed their best corner. Well, they've signed 2 corners and a safety, I believe, also from Marshall. They signed a bunch of difference makers.
Yeah.
The guys that won the league that they play in, the guys that beat them 37-2 in Hattiesburg last year.
Yeah, it's nice to just go get them.
Yeah.
This is this is the first time I've ever equated the Southern Miss football program with the New York Yankees. They got waxed and went out and hired the whole squad that beat them. I want to say this when I ask for one more question about it before we move on. The quarterback that they signed from Marshall is obviously a great player. What does that do for a guy like John White from MRA? Does he have to wait, or does he? I mean, for a guy like him, that's what I'm thinking about, is like the guys that signed with them when they didn't have to. You know what I mean? I mean, he took a chance on Southern Miss, and I know he can play.
Well, I think what the plan is, and nobody's told me. This is just my guess. Is the plan is for him to play a year behind Braxton, and then be ready to go the next year.
Okay.
He's only got one. The
transfer's
got 1 year of eligibility left.
Okay.
In fact, I think they're still looking for you can't go into a season with two guys in your quarterback room. They're looking for another guy in the portal.
Right. Well, I know Rodemaker and Crawford both transferred.
Well, they're in the portal.
They're in the portal. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's kind of, it's pretty exciting to get the recruiting class back up to a respectable number of signees. I know they needed it.
Well, again, it's just going to be so crazy to have basically a whole new team, and then you open the season next year with Mississippi State and Jackson State both at the Rock.
Strap that helmet on tight.
Yep.
Dad, two more pieces to get to. Unfortunately, got to talk about two Mississippi football, I don't know what you'd call them, legends or icons or whatever that have passed since we were last together. The first, I guess, Jerald Baylis, the great Southern Miss defensive tackle.
Well, he was a nose tackle. He played right over the center. Back when most everybody played an odd man front, he was the quintessential nose tackle. Tyler, as you know, I grew up in Hattiesburg. I've been watching Southern Miss play football since I was a toddler. And Jerald Baylis is the best defensive player I've ever seen at Southern. He's the best. Nobody could block him. My best story on him is years after he had played, I was covering one of Kent Hull's 4 Super Bowls. This one, I think, it was in Minneapolis. And Kent and I were off to the side just talking at media day, and we started talking about his days at State. And, they went head-to-head with Southern back then. And he was the center, so he was blocking Jerald Baylis, or as he said, trying to block Jerald Baylis. He said, one-on-one, I couldn't block him. Sometimes I couldn't touch him. He was that quick.
Well, I think the funnest thing you telling me about Jerald was his size, and what size that he started at nose tackle.
Well, he started at 6 foot and 235 pounds, but he could outrun. He could run with Reggie Collier. That's how fast he was, and he was just so quick. When Southern beat Bear Bryant at Tuscaloosa and ended his 59-game home winning streak, Jerald made 18 tackles for a nose tackle. That's like unheard of.
I bet they were tired of him.
Yeah. Everybody who played against him was tired of him. Yeah.
The other one is Dontae Walker. I know he was a little bit younger.
Jerald was 62 when he passed, and Dontae is 44. Goodness gracious.
You hate that. The great Clinton Arrows and Mississippi State Bulldog running back. His story in high school and college, the hype, and then delivering on the hype, and then trying to live up to it for 4 years in Starkville. Man, it was kind of a roller coaster. You were there at its absolute height when he was the man. And then there at the end, I think everybody remembers the BYU game. That's not going to be my lasting impression of Dontae Walker, but just to highlight how different it was.
Well, my lasting impression of him is going to be him running through the snow at the Snow Bowl.
The Independence Bowl.
Yeah, I think he gained like 160 yards, had several big-time runs. I went down after he was through at Mississippi State and had been away from the game for a couple years. He tried to make a comeback.
I remember that.
And he had gotten up to like 280 80 pounds, and then he was losing it. He was working out with a good friend of mine, John Brazier. He was living with him down in Centerville, and he got back down to 225 and had ran a 4.40 while I was there.
I remember seeing him. He looked the part.
He looked, but he just never really got it back to where he was, where he could make an NFL roster.
And that is not easy to do.
Yeah, right. And then he had the problems where he got arrested and spent some time in jail. But then he got out and he, got his degree at Belhaven. He became a contributing citizen. And he was always had the biggest smile. Yeah. I always enjoyed my time around him. Yeah. And I just, I hate to see him go. And he's I think the services are in Clinton this coming Saturday.
Well, it's a shame. I feel like, it's almost, it's very human. You know what I mean? The whole story with Dontae.
To say Dontae wasn't perfect is an understatement. But, he had amazing ability. I'll remember him for that, and I'll remember that smile.
Yeah. Well, he was Cam Akers before Cam Akers in Clinton.
He was a big time. He could have signed with anybody in the country. Everybody. There wasn't a team in the country that wouldn't have taken Dontae Walker.
Yeah. Dad, I don't want to end it on such a down note. I saw this morning the news came across. Apparently the Oakland A's are finally on a spending spree, and one of the first beneficiaries of it was former Bulldog Brent Rooker. Rooker got his deal from the Athletics, a 5-year, $60 million deal. That's the second biggest deal in A's history for an extension.
Who got the first biggest deal?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Well, it probably would have been Reggie back in the day, but
he's, Rooker kind of blossomed. He's
good for
made
him.
An all-star in his first season, 10th place in the MVP vote. And I know the A's are playing in Sacramento for the next couple of years before they make the full move to Vegas. But, what a great situation for him, man. Got his bag.
I wonder what the dimensions are of that ballpark.
I don't know.
Sacramento,
I'm sure that Brent Rooker will test it.
He's going to make it look a lot smaller than it is because that guy has so much raw power.
Yeah, well, he's got 60 million reasons to show him how much power he's got, and more power to him, man. How about it?
I think I saw where 2 of the 3 longest balls hit in Major League Baseball last year, one of them was by him and one of them was by Matt Warner.
Yeah, that's only because Ronald Acuna was hurt all year. Yeah. But we'll get him next year.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Dad, that's about all the time we got this week. Anything you're looking forward to this next week? I know we got these semifinal playoff games. Love to get your picks for those.
Well, I just say my pick to win it all is clearly Ohio State.
They're very good.
And they're peaking right at the right time.
Yeah.
I tell you who nobody would want to play right now is Michigan.
Michigan did get hot. They got real hot. How would you like to finish your season by beating Ohio State and then Alabama in back-to-back games? And when I tell you that nobody will remember the name of the bowl game or anything like that, boy, that is a tough way to finish a season. To be like, what, 8-5 or whatever it is?
Yeah, they were, but at the end of the year, golly, you beat Ohio State, you beat Alabama.
Yeah. And
they got most of them coming back. They're going to be really good next year, especially if they can find a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, I know they're ready to run DeBoer out of Alabama here.
Yeah. Well, the big takeaway.
Didn't even make the playoff. Get out of here.
The big takeaway right now on the bowl season and everything and the playoffs is SEC has lost its bragging rights.
Yeah, that and the bowl games don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
I've noticed that one big time. A lot of apathy on one side of a lot of these games from teams that didn't get in the playoffs. I will say they're doing a lot. They're doing a really good job in the marketing department. The Pop-Tarts Bowl and the Snoop Dogg Bowl and
You got to have a hook.
Right. And a lot of them have it. So it's all fine. Daddy, I'll tell you what, I think Notre Dame and Ohio State are, I think could be the matchup. I just don't think Texas is good enough. They won't switch quarterbacks when things are not going well. And I know they say if you got two quarterbacks, you got none, but they really do have two. And the Ewers looks great, and then he's Jekyll and Hyde back and forth through the whole game. And I thought, the other night, I thought they were going to lose in the last round, and I could not understand why they would not change what they were doing. I just don't think. I think they're a year away. I don't think they're there yet. So I don't know. I think in Notre Dame and Ohio State, that's my pick, and I'm sticking with it. Anything else?
No, that about covers it, buddy. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we didn't even get to the basketball this week. I know both our teams are ranked in the top 25. Any big games this week?
Well, they both go on the road. Of course, one of them's tonight. They're both going on the road. That's going to be the key thing is how they do on the road. I think State's 14 and Ole Miss is 23.
Yeah.
And I watched them both Saturday. I thought State played really, really well. I'm worried about Ole Miss rebound and inside defense. That's the two areas that worry me.
Yeah, I still think Ole Miss is a really, really good team, tournament team, could compete. I just after watching both of them, I'm kind of like you. I think Mississippi State is really, really, really good.
It wouldn't shock me if they ended up in the Final Four.
Wow. Okay. Bold predictions. You heard it here. It's first week in January. Rick's on a roll. That's all the time we got this week, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. Be safe out there.